Welcome to this video. Thanks for tuning in, sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome back. If you have, my intention is unity and oneness in the highest levels of love light. I'm obviously in the car driving, so I won't be looking at the camera quite as much unless I'm at a stoplight or able to. I wanted to give a little energy update and talk a little bit about the energies that are coming in and just a lot of synchronicities that have been coming up for me, and maybe going to a little light language. I'm just going to kind of roll with it. The biggest message that I always get from my guides is, well, let's go with top 5. Find your inner child, stay present, be in the heart, allow, receive, accept, and stay in a place of somewhat neutrality and non-judgment. And I want to start with that because non-judgment doesn't mean we're never going to feel judgment. And neutrality isn't always easy to be in that space. Neutrality and acceptance are different, yet we are being invited to be in acceptance and find a neutral space in which we are able to come from a place of non-judgment. Judgment is like ego. We need it in order to create a separation, right? In order to understand right and wrong. To judge someone by their character, we understand based on our own personal judgments, based on our own experiences. When my guides are talking about non-judgment, neutrality, and letting go of that ego attachment, it's a different meaning. It essentially means recognize something for what it is, which would be judging it. Recognize my response to it, right? Our response to it, which would be, am I responding in ego, or am I balanced in recognizing that that doesn't belong to me? Or perhaps I'm responding to this because it is stoking my ego. Whatever it might be, recognizing that, acknowledging it. And then also coming from that place of, am I judging this because of my ego? Or is this just something I need to be aware of to make a proper decision based on my judgments, right? So this is all kind of, we're being invited not to get hung up so much on words. Words do have power, yet at the same time, they only hold the power that we give to them. So if we're judging someone else all of the time, we're being invited to recognize that. That isn't coming from a neutral place. It is something as a human being we're going to do. Being in a place of non-judgment is almost impossible from my perspective. Is it possible? I'm sure it might be. Am I always there? Absolutely not. Am I acknowledging and recognizing when I am in that place and why I'm feeling that way? That is where I personally work from on a regular basis, or work at, or work towards on a regular basis. And when we're staying present and when we're in our hearts, we are less likely to be coming from a place of judgment, ego, blame, shame, and all of that. So it is all connected. I kind of forgot where I was going with that. There was another word that I had used, which you guys will know, but I have already forgotten. Oh, neutrality. So in neutrality, what happens is we then come to a place where we can see the judgment for what it is. We're not in it though. We can step back from it and see, well, I can see why I feel this way. I can see why this other person perhaps feels that way. And based on this particular situation, I am then coming to this conclusion, or AKA judging where I'm at, where this person is at, but not doing it from a place of anger, blame, shame, fear, guilt, projection. I'm now coming from a place of neutrality in which I can process all of this. So sometimes the process is getting to that space, of course. That process is recognizing I am in a place of fear. I am in a place of blame. I am projecting my own feeling of unworthiness onto this person, place, thing, or situation, if this makes sense. But recognizing that and then coming into that space of balance and harmony or neutrality, and not continuing to stay in that place is important, right? So this is kind of an ongoing theme, ongoing message. If I look back at a lot of the messages that I've, let's say, connected with my guides on, that's a common theme, is all of these things, and going into the heart so I can find forgiveness. Sometimes I have to forgive myself, forgive others before I can come into a place of neutrality, right? Sometimes I have to go through the process of judging and recognizing that that's what's going on before I can step back and go, oh, okay, now I feel what's going on. Now I can process this and integrate it, which is part of our journey, our experience. And so that's kind of what I wanted to share as far as an energy update, just as a general across the board, I don't know, keep it simple star seeds kind of sharing. Many of the beings that I have connected with, I'm just looking, I think that's a buffalo on the back of that person's car. Gratitude. Of course it is. So happy Thanksgiving. Turkey is not the only thing that represents gratitude. So does the buffalo. The Native Americans used the buffalo. They used the entire part of the buffalo, and they, of course, hunted, and they blessed the buffalo, and they were very appreciative of the buffalo because the buffalo gave them the hide, the meat, the bone broth, the bones for their weapons and nourishment and clothing and housing, right? And so we are being reminded to really be in a place of gratitude, and that gratitude comes from the heart. So oftentimes we might hear people say, well, get into the heart or come from the heart. One of the easiest ways to get there is to be in a space of appreciation. And to be in that place of appreciation then can help us to open up our hearts, get out of resistance, get out of a feeling of lack, and go into a place of abundance, which is also what this day of Thanksgiving is about. Being appreciative of our abundance. This also allows us to tap into the unified field. And when we're in a place of gratitude and appreciation, for the roof over our heads, for our clothing, for our friends and family, for the opportunities that come up for growth and expansion and self-expression, even though sometimes they feel less like opportunities and more like lessons or triggers, right? So that's something else to be grateful for. Many people are being triggered right now by many different world events. Perhaps it's the political system, the person they wanted to win didn't win, or the person that they wanted to win did win, yet they still have tons of fear around everything. And this I kind of think goes across the board. What I'm being guided to kind of share is we are in such a different energy right now. All it takes is us stepping into that heart space for us to feel the frequencies that are bountiful all around us. My whole energy around my healing work shifts all the time. So part of the other message is be in the flow. And when we're in the flow of abundance and gratitude, it opens us up for more of that. And it makes us more receptive to be present. It allows us to feel in present state of awareness, in present, right? Open our gifts, be in presence. And it allows us to continue this flow back and forth with our environment and the people that are in our environment that are gifts, treasures to us, if we allow ourselves to see the gifts and treasures that they are to us, that they are providing for us, and that are within us. And as we allow ourselves to be in this space of receptivity, it allows us to activate that which is out in our fields. Oftentimes when I'm doing a healing session with someone, what I see is they've already got this packet of information in their field, and it's just sometimes hanging out in this web that they've blocked themselves from feeling. And when we reach out to someone for a healing session, we are saying, I am open and receptive to receive whatever it is that you're sharing with me. And from my perspective, from that intention to be open and receptive to receive, to be open and receptive to change, morph, expand, heal, activate, whatever it might be, that is a combined intention that then opens the gates, so to speak. It opens the door. And from what I do is I unwind some of those cords in which those packets of information or codes or memories or even things that we haven't looked at, or possibly dense energy, I assist in revealing those, or assist the other individual that I am working with to feel those things, see those things, understand them, or unwrap them when they're ready. So sometimes it's just me unwinding that space, replacing it or moving it in a different space in their field so it's closer to them when they're ready and they can just reach out and grab it. Or sometimes I place it right into their field wherever it needs to go. And this is just one perspective of the many different things that I do, or energies that I share, or modalities that I tap into. We all have it. So when we are confused, or when we're feeling blocked, sometimes it's about us opening and feeling gratitude, and that's where we have that law of attraction acting as if we are already healed, which can be very challenging if we feel that we're in a place that we can't even get to, let's say, gratitude. There is that term I've talked about before, fake it till you make it. But sometimes it's just being in a place of appreciation for just, I'm appreciative that I'm breathing right now. I'm appreciative that I'm not in the hospital right now. I'm appreciative that I have all of my limbs, or I'm appreciative for the 3 limbs that I do have if you're missing a limb. I mean, there are so many different areas that we could look into. I've seen so many people who have nothing that are the sweetest, happiest, most, and when I say nothing, they have everything, because it's the material things that they don't need in order to fulfill them. So oftentimes we get caught up in this material aspect that creates feelings of lack or unworthiness, or I'm not good enough, or I have to have this in order to be this. And so back to Thanksgiving and gratitude, Buffalo teaches us that Buffalo gives itself to us in a form of gratitude and appreciation as well, because it's an experience. And I'm talking about from the Native American, or native, not even a Native American, native perspective, that those beings, our ancestors, lived off the land. The buffalo were essentially sacrificed themselves in agreement as part of their, at that time, in order to offer sustainability for the human experience. Therefore, it's a shared relationship. And this is nothing to do with, by the way, fast forward to now, vegans and vegetarian. I'm talking about the relationship between the animal back in that time frame and in that density. Perhaps now we are at a density where we do not need that relationship with the animals, but that's not what this conversation is about. We have this relationship with each other, with the animals on earth, with the trees that offer us housing, with the plants and vegetables that offer us food. All things are living. All things are alive. And when we can be in that space of immense gratitude for all of the abundance that is around us in every aspect of our lives, I'm getting a little emotional right now. It can change our entire reality. It does change our entire reality. and it changes our perspective about our reality, which came first, the chicken or the egg. If I change my perspective, it changes my reality. If I change my reality by being in gratitude, it also changes my perspective. And our perspective is everything from one perspective. And this is such a play on words, from one, capital O-N-E. So this allows us to look forward. And a lot of people are using the word, well, I need to have hope and I need to have faith. It allows us to look forward at, when we hear hope, comes from the word hopefulness. So we're full of this feeling, and what can give us that feeling is gratitude and looking forward to something. But it's difficult and challenging for us to look forward to something if we're not allowing ourselves to move forward from forward motion of heart. I'm hearing seeing syntactics, heart syntactics, not satanics, syntactics. I'll have to look that up. But our heart frequency, essentially, we're moving out into that space. I've talked about that before. We're walking forward into the space that our heart is setting out in front of us, behind us, to the left of us, to the right of us. And so it's very important for us to be in that space. And once we're there, we are creating from that space, which then creates more abundance. And it allows us to be present with each other. It allows us to be present with Mother Earth. It allows us to be present in the unfolding of our lives, of our reality. It allows us to stay on the highest trajectory and not get sucked into these other reality systems that are just that. They're other reality systems. They're systems that have been created, matrices, whatever you want to call it. Having said all of that, that's what it's all about. It isn't about these other realities and these other systems. Yes, some of us play and dabble in those, but are we spending our undivided attention, and are we dabbling? Sorry, people are kind of crazy sometimes. Are we dabbling, and that's all we're doing, right? Are we putting ourselves into these other versions of reality, whether it be television or newspaper or our neighbor or our friend, worried about our kids, worried about our parents? Any of those are not focusing on our own expansion, presence, state of awareness. And from there is where we unfold, and we essentially transmit our energy in the way that we wish to transmit it. And in essence, we're able to then access and harness more of our own energy, which is abundant. And so it's infinite. It's in an infinite, right? An infinite system. So unplugging from that which is finite. And what is finite? Pretty much anything we watch on the news isn't permanent. It's all finite. So what is infinite? And plug into more of that and recognize that is abundance. Earth. Now I say that, and there are those that would say, well, Earth isn't going to be around forever. Who says? Scientists? And where do they get their information from? I go backwards just for a moment, not to counteract that Earth is infinite, but there's many different versions of Earth. There's an infinite number of Earths, really. So that is correct, what scientists are saying from one perspective. But from another perspective, that is one perspective. What's infinite? Love, right? Energy, connecting with one another, connection, source frequency, color, sound, right? And the feeling that we get from that is so important. Okay, so I'm going to end on that note. I kind of covered many different places and spaces, and I could delve into more very in-depth breakdowns, so to speak, of where we could go with all of that. But it is, again, we are the infinite. We are the source connection here on earth. And so are the trees, and so are the plants, and so are the animals. Not the stories, okay? Not the shows that we're watching. All of it is a play, and we're creating it. So create from abundance will allow us, sorry, I have so much that just came in. I'm gonna end on this note because I have an abundant amount of information that just flowed in, because I'm open and receptive to it in this now moment. I'm allowing myself to feel the expansiveness of my heart regeneration frequency. I am literally seeing birds fly in the sky right now, and I can see their aura, and it's just so cool. When I can't always see auras. I don't always focus on it, and it just reminds me of how magical everything is. And this is where my gratitude is today. I am grateful for the magic. I am grateful for my animal guides. I am grateful for my family, my ancestors, Mother Earth, Gaia. I'm grateful for every person I've connected with on a soul level. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. So I'm thankful for you guys too, and I'm thankful for this opportunity to share in this energy with you guys. So thank you. Happy Gratitude Day. Giving thanks to buffalo and turkey, and for me, it's all about the mashed potatoes. Right? All about the mashed potatoes. All right. Much love. Namaste.